Hear me out. I'm going to make a series because there's no way I can possibly talk about all this at once. But I will tell you that I have my doctorate in sociology, and that's why I'm called Sociology DR, right? Listen, I don't know what RFK Jr. plans to say, but I've heard some things along the way that are very disturbing. One of the things I've heard him say is that autism only appeared on the scene 15 years ago. And before that, we didn't have any autism. When he was growing up, we didn't have it. Are you freaking kidding me? It was called something else. That's right. It was called something else. That's why it appeared as autism 15 years ago, okay? And we've gotten better at diagnosing, and more people have come forward to be diagnosed now that we understand there's a spectrum and that sort of thing. I've heard they're trying to connect it to Tylenol use or something crazy like that. Here's the problem. It used to be called something else. I took a course, and it wasn't called Autism in School and Society. It was called Mental Retardation in School and Society. So it was called under a different name. Let's listen to RFK Sr. as he's talking in 1965 about the deplorable conditions that he witnessed in institutions for the mentally retarded.
Well, I visited the state institutions for the mentally retarded, and I think particularly at Willowbrook that we have a situation that borders on a snake pit, and that the children live in filth, that many of our fellow citizens are suffering tremendously because lack of attention, lack of imagination, lack of adequate manpower.
That's right. The term was mentally retarded. And starting in the 1950s, parents were counseled at birth to place their children in an institution that was supposedly a school that specializes. And they were told there's no way that you could take care of these children at home, just put them in an institution. Well, Geraldo Rivera came out with a horrific expose of the conditions in such institutions, which led to the eventual deinstitutionalization movement. Back then they used other words. Instead of mental health, they called it mental hygiene. Kind of makes it sound like you could have hygiene or not have hygiene, and maybe it's, blamed on you, rather than understanding that mental health is a condition that is not the fault of the person who is suffering. But they do need stimulation and the ability to have a fulfilling life. The conditions in Willowbrook State School in New York State were so deplorable. They were certified for 4,000, they used to call people inmates at the time, actually went way beyond that and had up to 6,000 people. They did not have enough clothing for people. They